All right. Last focus. Gentoo focus. Okay, so we got to recap. We talked about it a little bit in the feedback, but got to recap here. Okay, so the way that this has been going, and I think I really like the way that this has kind of been fleshing out, is we do all these weird changes in the live stream, which happen a week before we record, and come about
So it's like you'll get the live stream notifications the day after this episode drops. Just a hint.
Right. So when this episode drops the next day, we're gonna go make some more changes, and then in the next episode we'll talk about how that worked out. And so this is the result of the last time we decided to make changes, and we learned a few things. So, okay, we got the Gnome profile selected. That was where we were in the first Gentoo focus. I had gotten to a compiled system. We could log into it. We could SSH into it. I could make changes to it all remotely. And that was fantastic. So we compiled that system once, and then we waited. And then we came up to the last live stream, which is the whole purpose of this was to get Gnome on the system, or at least compiling to get onto the system. But little did I know, did not know that just selecting the Gnome profile would not install Gnome. Okay, it turns out that what we did on the live stream was we chose the Gnome profile, and then we kind of hemmed and hawed a little bit, kind of figured it out, but we ended up compiling at world with the new use flag, and I just took the flag off. I meant to write it down, and I forgot to write it down. But there was another flag that we took off when I started compiling for today. Because, by the way...
probably the update one, maybe? I don't remember which one.
Yeah, well, I don't want to interrupt it. It's compiling back there.
Yeah, I don't remember what we took off. I just don't.
I'll come back with another update. And we'll definitely talk about it on the live stream. But we took off a couple of flags, and that we're currently right now at the start of the episode. I started compiling all over again, so we'll have updates. Will be fresh for tomorrow to do, or not tomorrow for the. Well, yeah, I guess technically, if you're hearing this tomorrow,
right,
we'll be doing the live stream.
Fast forward,
yeah, and then we'll talk about that a little bit more. But that update, as soon as we updated, new use and all that at world, it took 16 hours to compile all of the things that are needed to get on the system before we installed Gnome. So
that might have been a little longer than like even old Tater Top over there took. Just saying.
But I have a reason for that.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
But so that took 16 hours. We're gonna get Gnome on there on the next live stream. So if you're hearing this at normal time, you're not early access or anything. If you're hearing this normal time, tomorrow. And it was mostly my fault that it took 16 hours. It probably shouldn't have taken 16 hours. Probably closer to 10-ish, maybe.
That sounds about right.
Right,
yeah.
because...
Little overnight compile, and you're ready in the next morning.
I sure did. I went to bed, and I woke up, and it was still going. But it's mostly my fault because I limited jobs in an abundance of caution, because in the Gentoo handbook, it was like, about a gig for your system, about a gig for a job. And I only gave 2 gigs to the... 2 gigs to the... I think I only gave 2 gigs to the system, maybe? Because I was like, it's Gentoo, how much could you need?
Well, it's like a job. So like if you have 2 cores, I think you want to limit your jobs but you have some limited RAM in addition to that. So you don't want to, have too many jobs going.
Yeah, I've got 2
because,
cores.
Like your processor, in a way, your processor can get ahead of the amount of RAM that you have, and then you can get yourself locked up.
Exactly.
And you didn't want to do that.
Yeah. So to recap, I've had 2 processors in a VM. It's all in a VM because I'm scared.
Right.
I have 2 processors.
It's a good place to learn.
And 2 gigs of RAM. The system took, a couple hundred gigs of RAM. The first compile took less than I expected. It didn't take a full gig of RAM. It took like 700. So we were barely over a gig of RAM. And by the end of the live stream, I was saying, maybe I should bump this up to jobs 2 before the next live stream. And so that's what I'm going to do. Right. We're going to try jobs 2, but this is also going to be the live stream where we're compiling Gnome. So this could go horribly wrong.
And it could go just as long as it did last time, but you'll probably get twice as many packages compiled in that amount of time.
One of the I found out later on, because I put this out on Mastodon, that Rust takes a while.
That was one that really chewed up my system, just so you know.
Yeah.
I ended up going to binary on that.
Well, I should, and I probably maybe one day, but the whole point of Gentoo is to compile it all. So
you don't start there.
Yeah.
That's not where you start.
I'm going to compile Rust, and I've already run into the thing that people that are like, oh, I'm going to do the Rust binary, run into before they decide they're going to do the binary. I did it, and it took hours. So we're going, next live stream, we're going jobs 2. I'm not going to change the RAM yet, but but I'm going to go jobs 2, and I think that's probably going to take us up to the peak. What I don't want, though, I'd prefer to keep swap to a minimum. I have 2 gigs of swap on the system.
I think it's good to have it there, because in case you get into the situation where things start to run away a little bit, you want that, right?
Right.
But you're right. You don't want to be pressuring it a lot for a lot of different reasons. Just read and writes on your system. And so you don't want to do that if you can avoid it.
If I were running Gentoo on a hard disk, this would be a different story. But I'm not. I'm running Gentoo on the SSD that I have in my Proxmox machine that also runs other things I would also like to not explode. So
so you don't want to be thrashing your disk.
Right. Just to, I don't want to lower its life expectancy or anything like that. So if I see during this first Gnome compile that we're really thrashing the disk, maybe I'll back up and I'll just accept that it's going to take a little while to compile. And that's fine, because we're going a few days between, needing to touch.
We don't need it. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's not like a actual system that's probably going to have more processor, more RAM, better disk all around. Right.
Now, one of these days, this guy right here is going to be actually running the Gentoo system that I want to be dealing with on a day-to-day. But until that happens, I want to try to keep that thrashing down to a minimum.
Yeah.
I'll buy a whole nother SSD just for this guy.
That makes sense.
I mean, they are actually probably...
They're cheap.
They're pretty
really
cheap. I get a whole 128 gig disk just for... I don't even think...
You can't even
buy those anymore. I think 256 is probably as little as they get anymore.
What was these? I bought these cheap. These are cheap. These are 256. That's what they were.
Exactly. You can't buy them smaller than that.
Yeah. Take a look at that.
What is that? A T-Force? T-Force Vulcan Z?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What is that? Like $25?
20 maybe. I don't remember. They were like crazy cheap. I bought a couple of them just to have around to stuff in machines when I don't want to wreck maybe what I got going on there, but I want to test something out. I throw one of these in there and then swap it back out later, maybe.
Exactly.
So I bought a couple of those just on a lark, and they were cheap.
Smart. That's probably what I'll do. I mean, yeah, I'll just get me a disk just for Gentoo, so I can have 16. Oh, actually, this machine has 20 gigs of RAM, so I'll need.
Oh yeah, man.
I'll need 20 if I want to hibernate. Right? I want 20 gigs of swap. That'll be plenty for it. They're at a pretty good price right now. That's fantastic. But this build is temporary. Don't want to thrash that disk too much. So we're gonna play this one by ear and kind of jobs 1, jobs 2, kind of figure out how it's gonna go. But right now, I've got a pretty good functioning system. It's been stable. I've been able to SSH into it whenever I need to. It's always responsive. The past couple of live streams, it's been a good system. Now, I can't say I've been doing a whole lot with it yet, but we're just not to that point.
Right.
So when we get there...
I can say I have been doing some things with mine.
That's right.
Yeah, no, so I grabbed it the other day when my battery was dying on my normal laptop that I normally use. And so I didn't want to plug in. So I brought that back into the office, plugged it in here, and then I grabbed Tater Top, And amazingly, the battery lasts pretty well on that thing still, even though it's ancient. And so I grabbed it and I watched some YouTube videos. I might have even, I feel like I loaded up something else that was probably needed like the DRM stuff potentially. I don't even remember what I might have, but I definitely watched YouTube for quite a little while on the battery, and it worked. It's that thing's no speed demon, but it worked fine. It was a pretty good experience.
The power of Linux. It's fantastic.
Breathing a little life back into some ancient tech.
You just have to spend 60 watts for 12-ish hours to compile plasma to get there.
It's true, but once you're there, it's a solid system and it works pretty decent.
I forget who I was talking to. Oh no, it was Eric Adams. We were talking about what the point is about running a system like Gentoo and Slackware.
That's still a good question, and we're checking on that all season long.
Yeah, and I'm really cozying up to that. All of the performance that you gain with a Gentoo, you it's not free. You pay it up front. You pay it up front in compiling your software for specifically your hardware, so that when you, the human, are using it, you may even be able to perceive a better performance day to day in everything that you do. But you paid for it.
Yeah.
You paid for it up front.
I would say the other cost there is you and your labor in doing some maintenance. That doesn't come free either. But yeah, you gain some knowledge and it gets easier along the way. Yep, absolutely.
That's my focus with all of this Gentoo stuff, because I think I'm running headlong into it with eyes shut. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to run into the things that mess me up.
Me too. Yeah. Essentially, I'm running the testing, version, even though I'm told that gets a little QA before things land in there. Even it's still a little riskier. Let's face it.
Sure.
Some of these things are pretty new still. So even me, like I'm trying to bump into some of the things too, and I'm kind of not. Like it's working.
Yeah. See, isn't it frustrating when you
I can't break it when I want to,
right.
But when it's broken, I can't get it fixed.
Yeah, exactly. Like the whole point is that like I'm trying to shake the tree so hard that apples hit me in the face, and then like they're just falling around me, and I'm like, they told me apples would hit me in the face. What's going wrong here? Yeah.
They all landed in the bucket, darn it.
I know. Exactly. So I don't know. That's a testament to software QA. That's a testament to the handbook. That's a testament to just the people that surround the project, that make the project what it is. And it's so good.
So some takeaways that I've gotten here is like it yes, you can choose your own adventure, but the package management tools really kind of do help you a ton.
Yeah.
A ton. It does a lot of the work for you. It asks you some questions and you've got to make some decisions, but ultimately it does it. It does the work.
Yeah. Well, the last time I updated, and this may be the thing, this may be the turning point. It said I had to go in and like configure some configuration files.
Yep. I remember that. Yep.
Yeah, I didn't do that. And
I've done.
I just ran another update. So
okay, well, I've done that a couple of times, and depending on the thing, because you'll get merge conflicts sometimes if you don't make some configuration changes, and it'll tell you that. And so I did so a few times, depending, but it gives you guides, like it tells you what to do.
Okay. Well, so if this doesn't burst into flames after this, I'll make sure to go in. Well, actually, I'll save them for the live stream. We'll go through those configuration, whatever conflicts, and see if we can't fix them, and then we'll slap Gnome on there. That's the whole.
Yep.
That's the whole point. I've been having fun.